Because I'm
Hey,
trying to
everybody, welcome in to Ramblings Live. Hey, it looks a little bit different right now because it's not just me on the screen starting this off. The WCU athletics program is what we are doing tonight. That's our special episode. And thank you so much for joining in and watching along with us. This is the very first time here at Ramblings Live that we've actually had multiple people on at one time. We are setting a record here tonight with 3 guests on our platform. Let me start off by saying I apologize in advance that you have to stare at Christmas stuff. As some of you may know, I present on QVC, and at QVC, Christmas starts super early, and I'm in one of our studios right now that we have remotely, so that's why we are like this. But let's go around the bend and introduce everybody, and let's see if I can get everything right. So this way. So right over here, we're going to say hi to Coach Cohen, who is joining us today. Coach Cohen, thanks for joining in and hanging out with us, and the coach of the WCU field hockey team. And then right over right that way is Coach Wooden, who's joining with us, the coach of the basketball team. And then right below me there is Coach Zwan, the coach of the football team. Now, I can just say, "Hey, coach," and every single one of them would be able to respond to me. But we'll try and organize this all. Thank you all so much for coming on and joining us for this episode. We're thrilled to have you. And where's everybody calling in from? Let's go around this way. So we're going to start off with Coach Cohen. Where are you calling from today?
From my brand new basement office in Westchester.
Right in Westchester. All right. So right down in Westchester. And Coach Wooden, where are you calling from?
I am home in Wilmington, Delaware.
Wilmington, Delaware. And Coach Zwan?
And I'm home in Malvern.
Over in Malvern. All right. Well, thanks for we've covered southeastern Pennsylvania and northern Delaware. I'm in Westchester myself right now. Thank you all for joining in. We want to also mention that anybody that's watching us live, we are giving away a WCU cooler today. So comment, say hello. Any questions that you have for anyone that's on our episode tonight, by all means, go ahead and drop them in, and we will be able to bring them up. So you could be entered to win a WCU cooler if you do. Let's get started though with talking about each one of you. Obviously, you all are part of Westchester University. Coach Wooden, you went to WCU. When did you graduate?
The first time in 2003, and then I graduated from grad school in 2006.
2003, 2006. And yes. How's campus changed for you from being there as a student to coming in and seeing it now as a coach there?
Oh, wow. It's completely different. So I actually lived in Wayne Hall. That's no longer even a dorm. There was the quad, which was basketball courts, which is now the affiliated housing. The rec center wasn't there, which is now there. So, I mean, it's just drastically different now than it was then. So it's a beautiful campus now. Everything is updated and new buildings and still has the old charm. So it's different, but, still home.
Yeah, definitely still home. And I think that everyone on here can definitely say that WCU is home. Let's talk about Coach Zwan. When did you first come to Westchester?
So 2003 was my first season. So I guess 17, okay. I was going into 18th season now. And I'll say,
graduated.
Yeah, basically. In fact, I remember being at a Delaware all-state banquet or something like that, and you were there, Key, being honored.
Really?
Yeah, I think you were senior at that time, and you were being honored. Cool. And I was right in the midst of going through the interview process and everything. Okay. I hadn't quite got the job yet, but Coach Kane was on the committee.
Okay.
So we talked that night, and you were there at that Delaware. Do you remember it? You were being honored down in Delaware because you were a Delaware athlete.
Yeah.
Is why they did that. But to just build off of what Key said, when I got here in 2003, there was probably about 11,000 students. Wow. The campus looked a lot different. It's changed so much in this last 15 years or so. And the way I describe it now is it reminds me of what the University of Delaware looked like. I went there when I went there. So when I went to Delaware in 1973, 1972, it was about 16,000 students, and it had a very similar look to what Westchester has now. And I always describe Delaware as it was what I thought college should look like when I walked through and saw the buildings and the campus and the just the way it was all set up. And now I feel like Westchester looks like what college should look like. I really feel like they've made it really look like a real college right now. And it's a great selling point for us.
Looks amazing. There's no doubt about that. And anybody that hasn't walked through campus recently, I mean, of course, it's a little quiet now, but come on back and stroll through campus. They'd love to have you there. Coach Cohen, what's your story getting it to WCU?
Well, I've been at Westchester since the spring of 2011, which compared to these guys, it doesn't seem like very long, but having 10 years at one institution for a college coach is actually a fairly good amount of time. It just happens that I think our staff is very seasoned, and once you come to Westchester, you fall in love. So you fall in love with the university, fall in love with the surrounding town, and I don't ever plan to leave. And I think that's in general you see with our coaching staff. Once people kind of get in, you gotta kind of push us out to make us leave the area, because it's really a wonderful institution. So 10 years, and this is my last stop on the coaching ladder. I'm gonna be a lifer.
Well, that's great. That's what I think so many people love about Westchester University, is that when you come back, and part of Ramblings Live and what's been really fun with this is being able to connect with alumni from all over. And the professors that they had in 1980 are still there today, or the professors that were there in 1990 or in 2010, whatever it may be, are still around, and you still get to connect. And people love to stay at Westchester University. I want to know, because the irony of all of this, and the friends that I made at Westchester University that are watching this right now would be saying, why did they pick Westchester's least athletic student to go on, or alumni to be a part of this program? What is going on here? I don't know the path of coaching and how one gets into it. So how is it that you get into becoming a coach? What do you go to school for? What's the path that one takes? Let's start off with Coach Wooden. We're going to go to you on that one.
Okay, so, in college, I knew I wanted to do something sports related. Wasn't really sure when I first got there if it was actually going to be coaching. I considered sports journalism and a couple different routes, but I knew I wanted to do something in sports. I think my sophomore year, I figured out I wanted to coach. And then I wasn't sure which level I wanted to coach at. So I tried to make myself as marketable as possible, because at D2 and D3 levels, you wear a lot of different hats. Mm-hmm. So I wound up majoring in exercise science, and then I triple minored in nutrition, health, and coaching. And then from there, got a D1 coaching job actually right out of college, was there for a year. And then the job at Westchester opened up as an assistant basketball coach. And then I came back home, and I've pretty much been there ever since.
Amazing. Coach Cohen, how about you? What was your path and your experience with that?
I think I always knew I wanted to coach. I went to Lafayette, had a great experience there. And my senior year, I was actually a history major. And I talked somebody into giving me college credits for interning in my coach's office. So that was kind of my first day. I got a history internship in the athletic department. And actually, the athletic director at the time was Eve Atkinson. And Eve Atkinson has been a Westchester alum, and she's been in our Masters of the Public Administration program. So she's been running that for years and years, and just recently retired. So very strange how things kind of work out. So was at Lafayette. I ended up at University of Delaware. I was a graduate assistant there, and then a full-time assistant. And then I had a couple of years at the Division III level, where I was a head coach over at Susquehanna. And then this job came up, and I applied for the head coaching job in 2011.
That Susquehanna University is where my parents met and where I was enrolled at until I came over to Westchester University. So we've got our paths could have crossed over there as well.
The good old road.
What did you go to school for, and how did you find yourself becoming a coach?
Yeah, so I was a business major in college. My plans all along were to go to law school after I graduated from college. My dad passed away when I was a junior in college, and he was a coach. He had coached high school baseball, and at his funeral, a lot of his players were so just really loved him. They asked to be pallbearers at his funeral. It really hit me personally, like how he touched those guys and how much he meant to them. So I started thinking, maybe might be what I want to try to do. I actually started coaching that summer in a summer baseball 16 to 18-year-old American Legion thing. And then I basically been coaching since. I went through the high school ranks at Bonner, Archbishop Carroll and Bonner. I got a chance to go to get into college, which I did at University of Cincinnati, and then to Merchant Marine Academy up in New York. I got out of coaching for a short time when we started having kids. And then a buddy of mine was coaching in Florida. He asked me if I wanted to come down and join him. I did. Took the family down there. That was pretty crazy. I did high school coaching down there. High school coaching in Florida is different than everything else. It's really amazing. I had a great time. But then we came back. I had a chance to go to Widener as an assistant, which I did. Eventually, I became the head baseball coach. Then I became the athletic director and head football coach there. And then when the Westchester job opened up, it was something I had always kind of thought about. So, I actually had a really nice job at Widener, so I wasn't really looking to leave. But I think my wife was ready for that. When you're the athletic director, you go, you do all the events, So it wasn't really like I was having much time off. Whereas a football coach, I could control that a little bit better. So when the opportunity came for Westchester, we decided to do it. We didn't have to move from our house. We've actually lived in the same house now for about 28 years. So that was a key point of it. And I knew what the possibilities were here. So I thought, okay, this is a chance where we can keep winning and keep trying at another level. And it worked out great.
Yeah, worked out real well. Want to jump over to our live feed right now. Judd Strauss, who's chiming in, saying, "Go Rams." Chris Momney is chiming in, said, "Hey all, I just want to say a quick hello and thank you for doing this. We appreciate our athletics folks more than ever right now." And another Go Rams from Jesse Pearsall, who is watching us live as well. By all means, comment in. We'll bring your comments up. Any questions that you have, we can also bring them up onto the screen. And please, when you ask a question, because I see, Melissa, that you just said you wanted to ask Coach if there's any room on the roster for a lefty pitcher. There's 3 coaches here, so please specify which coach you're talking about. But I'm thinking I wanted to ask Coach if he has any rooms, so Coach Juan, on your roster for a lefty pitcher who gets batters out.
Well, I'm the football coach, so we do have room for a lefty pitcher because we don't have any lefty pitchers on our team right now. So there is room for one. He just wouldn't have a whole lot to do on the football field with us.
Okay, so the answer is yeah. There you go.
Absolutely,
there you go.
tons of room for him. Just nothing for him to do.
So let me ask you about. My uncle has been a head coach at the high school football team in the town that he lives in North Carolina, and it's a big military town. And there's a lot of his student athletes. Their parents are in the military and are active duty, and they find themselves, and he finds himself that he brings them into his home, and that there's always an open bedroom there for anyone that may need it. And they've had a lot of students that have lived with them. For each of you, I imagine that when you're a coach of a team, and it's that family feel, that the relationships that are being built, not just amongst the team and the players, but the coaches and the players, that you look at them probably like they're your children, and that you probably go above and beyond in a lot of different ways. So are there examples of that you have, and what that kind of means to be a coach when you have a student that comes in and you are coaching them not just on the field, but I imagine that you're a bit of a life coach as well. Coach Cohen, you want to chime in on that one there?
Well, I just was kind of laughing because I always refer to them as my kids. And then I have my own children. So I have 2 sets of children. I have my 18 to 22-year-olds, and then I have my under 4s. But yeah, you end up having a very special relationship with college student athletes. For my personal team, because I do live in Westchester, I'm just 5 minutes from the campus. My team will stop by my house. They will come over sometimes just even to say hello. They want to visit my own children. Sometimes they're trying to con me into making them a steak dinner, but they know where I live. They're incorporated in my life. We actually have a good amount of international students, and I've had the same German player to my house actually in South Jersey for Thanksgiving year after year. So I think that the parenting to the international kids is a little bit more so than some of the other student athletes that I have. So with that, if they need me, everybody needs me. So I just have an open door policy at my home, and they're a part of what we do here, and they're a part of my actual family.
That's awesome. Coach Wooden, how about you?
Well, it's funny because now that I'm getting older, I think I'm more of a mom figure. When I first started coaching, 17 years ago, I feel like I was a big sister then. And now I went from big sister to cool aunt to like mom now. So it's changed a little bit, but it's definitely a family atmosphere. I mean, I've had players that have been around through pregnancies and who are basically helping me raise my kids. Like they look at them as though they're actually their brothers and sisters. So definitely a family atmosphere. Definitely, with the like as I was younger, I feel like those younger alums became more friends than just me. Like I said, at that point in time, it was kind of like sisterhood. And now it's more of mom. Okay, have you done this? Have you done that? Make sure you do this. Make sure you didn't do that. So it's evolved, but I think the relationships are still the same in that they know I have love for them, and if they ever need me, then I'm there for them through with ever.
That's awesome, Coach Swan. How about you?
Yeah, so like Amy mentioned, I always call my players kids. Also, and I remember when I was coaching at Widener, our SID all the time would say, "We stop calling them kids. They're young men. They're young men," because they would call them kids in the newspaper. And that's really the way I feel about them. I mean, they've all been my kids throughout the years. All the kids, all those guys that I've coached over the years. I have relationship with guys who are in their late 40s who I coached when they were, 16 and 17 years old. And I still feel the same way about that. They've got kids now, and I look at them as my kids having kids. So you build up that relationship everywhere that you are. The piece with football is I run the gamut. So I have kids who have tons of money and they're doing really well, and their parents are doing great, and they don't really have much worries outside of the football field. And I have kids that have nothing. And football is the only thing that they have, and it's the only way of getting ahead. It gives them a chance to get a college degree. And they are from week to week to week looking for how they're going to pay for that, how they're going to pay for this, how they're going to pay this bill. So you end up getting to be more involved with those kids that need you more. Luckily, I have a great staff of assistants who are always on top of that. They're always paying attention to what the kids need. So you're always happen to see those guys much more often. I can't tell you how many kids have told me over the years, and Westchester has been tremendous about this, where kids just stay up here in the summer. They just don't want to go home. It's just not a great situation for them at home. So they need something different, and they need people around them that, point them in the right direction. So they just stay here at Westchester. They either stay at apartments or stay in their dorms or whatever. And that's what Westchester really is different than a lot of other schools, is they recognize that, and they know these kids that need help, and they definitely, are there to support them. It's been a great experience that way for me when I watch those kids that came from nothing become something. They're kind of the ones you always think about over the years. But anyhow, the other piece that I wanted to mention is that my kids grew up in this. My son was at practice when he was 5. My daughter was doing cheerleading back in Florida at the high school when she was 3. That's a great thing about coaching, is your family gets involved. So a lot of times you say, well, I spend a lot of hours there, and it means I'm hours away from my family, but they're at every game. My son used to ride on the buses with me at Widener when he was younger. It's something that they've all been involved in, and there are very few careers where you can get your family involved as much as they are. They come and watch you work, and that's really been something tremendous for me over the years. And now my son works with me.
What a unique, oh, that's awesome. What a unique experience that, like you're saying, for your family to be a part of it. And I think that's what is so special for so many people. Want to jump back into our social feed here, because lots of comments coming through. Kelly, who's saying, totally a family event. It is one of the absolute best parts. Barbara is from the class of 1980, says, go Rams, and joining in with us. Christy, who said WCU women's basketball raised a lot of amazing women. I can't wait to see what the future produces. And we're going to take this question here from Chris, who wrote in. And Chris said, hey, y'all, what is it about coaching at WCU that keeps you coming back each year? So let's start off Coach Wooden, give us that. What keeps you coming back each year? Question from Chris on our live feed.
The kids, honestly, the relationships. It's not a easy job. Like Bill said, it's time away from your family. We have to raise scholarship money, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, the relationships that you build with these players, those are lifelong. These are sisterhoods that you wouldn't be able to get if you had a different profession or, in my opinion, if you worked at a different institution. So the kids are what keeps me coming back and keeps me motivated. And literally everything I do is with their best interests at heart.
Amazing. Coach Cohen, how about you?
For me, there's just no other place for me. I love getting up and going to work every day. I miss going to work every day. I miss seeing Bill. I get to see Bill every day. I'm sad. And also, we're competitors, right? So for me, I say this quite a bit. I love winning, but I hate losing even more. And I have myself a situation here where I just feel I'm a winner every day. It's not just about the wins on the field. I'm a winner in life because I get to see how amazing these student athletes are when they graduate. And that's where I find, my most success here is just seeing what they're doing as alums.
Awesome. Coach Swan, how about you?
I'll say to you that I've loved every place where I've coached. I loved Martin County High School in Florida. I had a great time there. There were great kids, great people. I got to Widener, similar situation there. And Westchester has been the same for me. We're really lucky because we get to do what we love to do every day, which means you get up in the morning, you have that cup of coffee, you walk out the door, and you are looking towards your day. You can't wait to get to work and do what you do. To be able to do it at a place that cares, and I think that's the most important part. They care about the fact they want us to win. They like the fact that we're winning. They, give us what we need to make it happen. Of course, we always want more. That's all part of us being competitive. But when you can walk into your office every day and feel good about what you're doing and the place you're doing it, you don't really look to leave. And that's really been my situation. I have never looked to leave any place I've left. Things have fallen into my lap, and that was a better move for me necessarily. But I love what I'm doing. I love where I'm doing it. And I think that's what most of our coaches would tell you.
Well, that's going to tie into a comment that we got from Alex Murphy that said it's impressive that WCU can keep coaches like all of you for so long, since it's common when D2 coaches achieve the success that all of you have, they are often recruited and leave for position at a higher division onwards. So, I agree with him. It's really impressive that all of you do stay long. It sounds, and you could tell that each and every one of you are extremely passionate about your jobs. You're really passionate about the players and coaching and what it is that you do and getting your family involved. And it's really quite admirable. Loving all the questions that are coming in on social media right now. By all means, keep sending them to us. We will try to get to as many as we can. And let's go. 2 questions here. We're going to start off with, we'll keep this one to a short answer because I want to try and get as many in as possible. Judd wants to know, do you have any pregame rituals or superstitions to get the win? We want to know about that. Coach Swan, we're going to start off with you. Any pregame rituals or superstitions for you to win?
You know what? I have a routine. It's not necessarily a ritual or a superstition, but I have a routine. I'm willing to change it if we lose. I will definitely adjust. But yeah, everything I do, I think about how that's going to affect us winning today. So I definitely do have a routine of what I do Friday night,
right.
what I do Saturday. It's I guess, is a ritual, I guess. Yeah.
There you go. Coach Cohen, how about you? Any superstitions, any routines, anything at all?
No, I think I'm pretty boring there. I don't have anything special. Sorry.
It's quite right. Hey, you know what? To each his own. And Coach Wooden, what about you?
Not particularly. I can't really have routines. I have children, so any routine that you come up with is going to be thrown out the window on game day. I just make sure that I show up and that the team is ready, and that's the only routine that I have.
Chris, and great, thanks for all those answers there. Chris said, great seeing all of you. He graduated in 2016 and was at every basketball game and football game with the band, and sending the Go Rams emojis in there. Chris, thanks for joining on with us and for posting that question earlier. Colleen says, hey there, WCU soccer alum and ATC, how are you keeping your teams connected during this crazy time? I think it's a great question because that's got to be a major challenge right now, I'd imagine. How is it that you're all doing it? And Coach Cohen, let's start off with you on that one.
It's really tough, and we're all different here. It's just a lot of phone calls, a lot of FaceTime, a lot of Zoom meetings. We all are doing Zoom workouts. In fact, Key's team and my team work out together every Friday morning with Packer, our strength coach. So it's just those things, and trying to be as competitive as you possibly can with the kids. I like to make like fun. We'll have scavenger hunts. I mean, we'll do team game nights and get the parents involved. Just trying to do anything to kind of get their mind off the fact that they're at home right now. They're not able to be, back on campus.
Yeah. That's Zoom workouts. I'd like to get involved with one of those. I need some motivation here. Coach Wooden, how about you?
Pretty much the same as what Amy said. I think Zoom is probably our go-to right now. Prior to the whole pandemic, I think I never FaceTimed. If one of my players FaceTimed me, I wouldn't answer because I'm like, I don't do that. And now I'm like, oh, FaceTime phone calls, let's go, group chats. So I think we're doing a decent job of that, and that's how we're staying connected. I think our alums are doing a good job of helping us stay connected as well, because we're reaching out to them and they're getting back to us. So, just trying to bridge the gap between the generations of Golden Rams is helping as well.
And Coach Juan, I'm going to come to you for your answer in just a second, but I am going to interject and plug Ram Nation. So WCUalumni.org/Ram Nation. If you are an alumni that does want to connect with current students, help them out, give them your own coaching advice, give them career advice, or just connect with a student that may have questions about what life is like after attending Westchester University, Ram Nation is the spot for you to get involved, where you can connect with current students. So it's Ram Nation, WCUalumni.org/Ram Nation is where you can head to for all of that information to get signed up and help current students. Coach Swan, over to you now with regards to that question. How are you keeping people connected during this time?
Yeah, let me just first say, so somebody from the band just asked a question. All of us will tell you how great our band is and how important they are to our football games and the experience that we have. That our band has just been phenomenal. And we use the band as our recruiting tool for sure. Our recruits come to our games and they see the way that whole atmosphere is, and a lot of it's mainly the band. It sells them on wanting to come to Westchester for sure. So I just want to shout out to the band for everything that they do for us. I'm going to tell you that I absolutely hate Zoom. I can't stand it. I thought it was kind of a neat little thing for like 3 Zooms, and then now that I'm into like 300 Zooms, I'm really done with them. And I feel like most of our kids are very similar. I think they're tired of Zoom. They Zoom everything now. We try to keep it, a little bit different each time we talk to them, but we know, I mean, right now they're facing the possibility of doing Zooms for another 6-7 months. That's a hard thing to look forward to. So we just got to try to find things to make them. I'm getting a bunch of texts right now. So everybody's, we're just trying to stay in contact with them as best we can. We're always texting each other. We're doing more FaceTime now than I've ever done too. Also, Key, but a lot of my assistants are on top of our kids all the time. So that, each individual position kind of is working with their own individual group. But it's getting tough to keep everybody interested. That's for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's the whole world has had to adapt to what's going on now, and interesting to hear how it didn't cross my mind that how team sports like this are going to have to adapt and do their workouts over Zoom and stay connected via FaceTime and phone calls and all of that. So we are winding down here, but before we end, I do want to talk about the Athletic Week of Giving. So which one of you can explain that to me, as someone who may not be aware of it, and maybe somebody watching is not aware? What is the Athletic Week of Giving?
Amy, I'll let you do
Amy,
it.
you got this one since you have the best social media presence.
Coach Cohen, you were voluntold for that.
So the Athletic Week of Giving is more like the athletic 2 weeks of giving. So we kicked it off this week, and it's going to close on October 31st. And basically, we're doing the best we can to try to generate some momentum to get donations for all of our programs. So if you donate today, tomorrow, up until the 31st, you can donate it directly to one of our teams. So it's something that is actually run through the foundation, the Westchester Foundation. And one of the questions or comments that came in was from Chris, who is actually running the foundation. So it's really nice to see him on here. So again, just making a donation, trying to get us the money that we need to run these programs. We do everything we can to make our programs the best, but we need you. We need scholarship dollars, and that comes from donations. Yes, we do get some money from the university as well, but all the extra money that we can gather right now, especially during the time of COVID, would be certainly appreciated from all of our alumni.
Excellent. So I know that there's a lot of people who do want to help out, and this may be a great way for you to be able to lend a hand and help out. And we will also post the link to that within this once we're done with the live video, so you can go back and click on that link so that you can go ahead and donate if that's something you wish to do. I want to thank all of our guests on here today for the very first episode of Ramblings Live featuring WCU Athletics and the most people that we've had on here. It's been a blast. As somebody who, like I said earlier, is not athletic at all and doesn't know anything about sports, it's been really great to talk to all of you and get to learn a little bit more. And I hope that everybody that was tuning in throughout this learned something as well. And I want to thank everybody for writing in their comments and going back. And I encourage all three of you to go back to the live feed, take a look at the comments, look from a day from now as people watch the replay and see what people are saying, because there's a lot of love for WCU Athletics. There's a lot of love for all of you. And I wish we could have gotten to all the comments. Unfortunately, we were not able to, but I'll let the three of you go back and read them and respond as you so wish. So thanks so much. I'm going to let you all go here one by one and talk about what's going to happen next week. And we'll see you hopefully on Ramblings Live sometime soon.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So long. All right. So right there is the WCU Athletics episode of Ramblings Live. I want to thank you for chiming in with us there and hanging out with us tonight for that. Coming up tomorrow night, a special Ramblings Live, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But first, I'm going to tell you about the WCU Cooler. If you commented today, you were automatically entered to win. Oh, right, where is it? It's over. I'll use that cooler on that side. There it is. That's the cooler that you could be entered to win. All you got to do is comment. That's it. Whether it's live or afterwards, we're going to pick a winner in a day and give that away. And then tomorrow, join my good friend Lisa Wright Bryant, class of '87, who's going to be interviewing Dr. Tabitha Adkins, who's the Dean of the University College at WCU, for a special edition of Ramblings Live happening right here on the Westchester University alumni page. Ramblings Live happens each and every Wednesday for the month of October. Only one more to go for our special homecoming edition, and that is going to be with Sue Weldon, who's from the class of 1986. Now, I will tell you that one, because the scheduling was actually a pre-tape, she is an absolutely amazing person, so inspirational, and she's going to be talking about Unite for Her, which is the organization that she founded, which helps men and women that have been diagnosed with breast cancer, and they really do amazing, amazing work, and I can't wait for you to see that episode happening next week, next Wednesday, 6 p.m. right here on the Westchester University alumni page, and then, of course, we have Ramblings Lives happening up until the end of the semester. Until next week, my name is Justin Sachoka. Thanks for hanging out with us on Ramblings Live tonight. Don't forget to comment and be entered to win that cooler. We'll see you next week.